Beautiful, well done. You see all these green tips, they're making you saintly. Let me just correct now, that stadium, I just looked at it now, it's 46,000 people, okay? So I just had a quick Google, nothing like Google to tell you the answer to everything. So there you go, 46,000 people at that Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium in PE. Now, let's move on to something that really got some Gauteng parents very upset yesterday. The Gauteng MEC for Education, Panyaza Lesufi, has launched the province's online learner admission campaign for 2017. The process hopes to encourage parents to register their children for the 2017 academic year using a convenient online method and also ensure there will be adequate space for all learners next year. But the problem is the whole system crashed yesterday. So to tell us more about this process, we're joined in the studio by Oupa Bodibe, who is Gauteng Education's spokesperson. Good to have you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me and good morning.
What happened yesterday?
It's something that we didn't really expect, and we apologize for the frustrations and the inconvenience. I mean, the system is really in demand, 600 visitors per second, and we didn't really plan for that kind of capacity. We did a pilot last year, and the numbers were not looking like that last year.
Well, I mean, if you look at the numbers, I mean, we were expecting more than just grade one, 200,000 parents expected to apply. So, I mean, did it really take you by surprise that 600 people logged in a second?
No, it didn't when it actually went live. And that's why we decided now we must add more capacity, because we thought the capacity we had will cope, but they didn't cope.
Yeah, well, clearly they didn't cope. So now I believe that it has been suspended for today. So it's not going to be online today. And you're hoping to start once again tomorrow with those online admissions.
Yes, and can I just reassure parents with the following. What's expected between now and Friday, it doesn't affect your position in the queue. So there is no queuing at the school or anything of that sort. All you're doing this week is creating an online profile by adding your details. The actual application will start on the 19th of April. But however, you would need that profile on the system. That's why we thought it would be prudent to start with registration early and verification of details, because we already have about 11,000 on this system already, and we expect them to come back and verify their details. But also to just make it convenient, the whole admission period is open between April and June. Yeah. So it gives more people time to actually do the application.
Yeah, which is very, very important. I mean, you do need to apply in time, and I think it's a good thing that these admissions are opening early. However, what happens to those parents? And again, this was brought up as quite a frustration. If they don't have internet access and they lose out spaces for their children, what happens to them?
Well, we've made provision in all our offices and the schools, some of the schools, our district offices. We have administrators and technicians that can help those parents. They must go to those places. They must go to their community libraries. They must go to the two-song centers to get help with filling out the application forms online.
Okay, so they can't actually physically go there and apply? So they have to go and get help to apply online?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, can they do that at the school?
Several schools. We've issued a list of those schools and district offices where they can get help.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's for some people it's very, very difficult. I mean, can you not make provision for some people that, you know, they say that the school is just around the corner from them, they can walk there and just do their admission, but it's making the process so difficult for them, and they're very worried that their children are going to lose out on a position because they're not necessarily tech savvy, they don't have the connections to do this. Is there no way of trying to allow them that space to go register for their children directly at the school?
Well, I can assure them that the schools we've selected are actually quite closer to the parents, so those will not have access online. And we will issue out again the list of those schools and help desk in all our 15 districts across Gauteng. The point that we are trying to avoid, remember, there's also teaching that's happening at the school. We don't want to disrupt schools in as much as we want to make it convenient for parents, and that's why we've established these help desks.
Okay.
But also, the whole point of this system is that it generates a central database for the department that enables us to plan well in advance, because we need to make sure that by October we have allocated all the learners to their classrooms. We have we know our plans in terms of distributing textbooks and allocating teaching staff and so forth, and infrastructure.
All right. So just to understand this correctly, this online application right now is catering for the grade 1 children for next year and grade 8 children for next year. Is that correct?
That is correct. And if you have a child at school currently, all you have to do is to go to school to confirm that the child will be coming back.
And if they want to move schools?
That's a different process. Also, you have to do it physically at the school because you have to apply for a transfer to another school. Yeah. So we're not dealing with that. We're dealing now with new applications and those parents that are outside of Gauteng would want spaces next year.
All right, so that's a completely different thing. And is that going to be live tomorrow as well?
Yes, the system now allows for people outside of Gauteng as well as the ones who are looking for grade 1 and grade 8. Anything in between, you just go to the school. All
right, and in terms of rectifying existing details online for parents, when do they do that? Can they do that now, or is that something that will happen later?
So that's the whole point for this week. We wanted parents to verify and rectify their details, and those who have not have a profile to register a profile, so that when we start with the actual application on the 19th, that hassle has been moved.
Yeah, I'm just again, I just want to bring this up because I think a lot of parents were very, very, very disgruntled yesterday when the system crashed, and many, putting out things saying, this is not booking for a concert, this is my child's career, I mean, schooling we're talking about. But you had 2 warnings that the system was going to crash. I'm reading here that the head of the school governing body foundation, Tim Gordon, said the foundation raised concerns about the site crashing at a meeting last week, Friday, and yet it still went ahead. And I'm also seeing that the deputy director of the Federation of School Governing Bodies, Yako Din, said the department's insistence on using online system before it was ready to do so was putting children's futures in jeopardy. Would you like to respond to those comments?
Well, I think that's going overboard. Much as we appreciate the frustration that the parents experienced, we were assured that we have enough capacity to deal with this. But I mean, the reality is that the capacity couldn't cope, and we went through back yesterday to look through to diagnose what would have happened. And remember, we didn't even have an opportunity to deal with this number of, even our test didn't deal with this number of applications per second.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's hope that tomorrow everything will be back online and parents will be able to register. Just give us that website one more time as we wrap up this interview. It's
gdeadmissions.gov.za.
Okay. Oh, it's on your screen there, so you can just write that down. gdeadmissions.gov.za, that's the website that you can go to, but please ensure that you go tomorrow. It's going to be, I suppose the bandwidth is going to be increased today so that they can counter that big demand that one can only expect. Oupa Bodibe, thank you for coming in and explaining what happened yesterday and apologizing. Gauteng Education's spokesperson here on Morning Live. All right, let's take a break. When we return...